Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, man, we're going to address something that doesn't get enough attention. The profound pain and dangers that the actions of the sons like myself that was involved in the streets that cause our mothers. When we harm people, when we go to prison, or unfortunately if, we lose our lives, it's not just our lives that shattered. The ripple effect on the moms is immeasurable, man. The traumas that mothers experience is not just an emotional thing, man. It's physical, it's social. Our moms are left to pick up the pieces of our actions, even when our choices lead to harm or death. I'm not just talking about the grief of them losing their sons. I'm talking about the repercussions that often affect, the aspects of their lives, and from their mental health to their social standings in the community. Like, people looking at them differently, judging them and stuff like that. I don't think any of us realize that the moms carry the weight by themselves, all alone, often in silence. They face judgment, they face isolation, they face stigma that's like uniquely tied to our criminal actions. People say, well, he was raised by his mom, because most of our fathers was either in prison or dead. So they say, well, she had to teach him this, she had to teach him that. You know what I'm saying? So when we get involved in the streets, whether we end up in prison, whether we harm somebody, we kill somebody, our moms is caught in the crossfire, man. Trust me, like, I got firsthand experience. A lot of the moms will tell you that they had no control over their sons' actions, none of their decisions. But you think society don't hold them responsible for that? There's an expectation that the mom should be able to fix everything. Society believe that. We believe that. We believe when we get in trouble, our mom's gonna get us out of this shit. They gonna figure it out. They gonna help us fix it. You know what I mean? Like, when these boys go in and out of the jail, like, or end up dead, like, you don't think the moms feel like they failed? That ain't fair. They shouldn't be sitting around saying, damn, it was my fault, or like, I should have done this, I should have done better. It's not just emotional, man. You gotta understand that. Like, some of these moms, man, I thought about it with my mom, like, they face physical danger sometimes. You put somebody down out here, right? Especially nowadays, man, it's 2025. I just came home in 2024, right? These youngers is killing moms and kids and grandmas, like, they don't be caring. So you put somebody down right now, you're putting your mom in danger. Don't think about that. What about people that got like gang affiliations, or you owe money to somebody or whatever? They will not hesitate to target your family, man. We have seen countless stories, man, of moms being harassed, threatened, or even harmed due to the actions of their sons, man. Because their sons brought this attention to them. It's a situation that moms should never have to navigate, man. That's not their job. Their job is to nurture us, to help us grow, help us understand what's really going on out in the world, to hold us close to their bosom and protect us. We take that protection from them when we go make decisions on our own and do what we want to do, and not care about the effects that it will have on them if they come back. Let's talk about the psychological toll. What about that? When a mom finds out that her son killed somebody, or they've been involved in these violent crimes, what about the shame? What about the guilt that she feels? We don't think about that. It's like they feel like they fell at the one thing that society expects them to to see that. And that's raising a child right. They're blamed when we make decisions that ain't have nothing to do with them. And if they just so happen to raise their child in a rough environment, right? Or with limited resources like we see, in the urban communities, right? What about the added weight of knowing that their son's actions was out of survival? They got to think about that. Now they blame themselves for keeping them in that environment because they made decisions to do other things because they felt as though they had to do what they did to survive. The world don't care about that though. Society don't want to understand that the complexities of the urban community is a different type of situation. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear excuses. They want to know why you didn't stop your son from committing these crimes. Then it's the narrative that the moms of, us, that they call criminals, right? That they should have known better, that they should have did more, that they should have been able to detect these things. But they don't say that about, and I don't like bringing race into it, right? But they don't say that about the Caucasian moms whose sons wake up one day and they seen the signs, they seen the notes, they seen the stuff on social media, on their pages and all that, and they just go shoot up a whole school. They don't say that. They don't blame the mom for that. They say he had, he was dealing with some mental issues. But the urban community, oh no, that's the mom's fault. She should have done a whole lot more. But men, let's look in the mirror. I'm talking to you young men, especially. Let's look in the mirror. It's our fault. We put our moms through this shit. We do that. When they gotta travel and go to the jails, right? Walk through metal detectors or get pat search and gotta go through all this shit just to make sure we all right. Not knowing if our son will ever hit the street before she take her last breath. She gotta deal with that. We don't understand the pain that we put our moms through when we go out on these streets. We trick ourselves into believing that we did this shit for our family, then we fall in love with what comes with this shit. And we forget about the reason why we went out in the streets in the first place. We turned the springboard, something that was supposed to get us away from this shit and get our peoples in a better situation, turned that shit into a full-time job, a full-time occupation. Then that led to something else, right? Then somebody got hurt or somebody got killed. And then they left to pick up the fucking pieces. I gotta be raw. I gotta be clear with y'all. I gotta be direct. Because we don't understand the shit that we put these moms through. And they don't get enough attention for all the stuff that they endured. We put our moms in situations where they isolated. They don't want to be around people. They don't want to talk to people. They live in this little world, this little bubble of their own. Because at the end of the day, no matter what they did, they love their sons. He came from their womb. They love their sons. They supposed to not care? I hate the fact that for 22 years that my mom suffered through this stuff alone by herself. People ain't check on her and ask her, was she okay? Unless it was maybe somebody who maybe walked the track with me or whatever, and my mom might have took them in like one of her own because of my close relationship with them, right? But the people that, I left out here in the streets, man, they wasn't checking on her. They weren't making sure she was good. She was going through this shit by herself. She's suffering in pain. She answered all my phone calls, man, and I don't even think sometimes I might have asked her, was she okay? But I think naturally I believe that she was a heart. She tough. She quiet, but she tough. She cool. She don't care about what nobody else thinks. She don't worry about none of that, and man. But that was a heavy load that she had to carry by herself. Because I'm her son. I'm her baby at that. I think about the moms who got to endure the death of their sons. Like, for instance, right? A lot of people talking about it right now. The youngin, Noah Scurry, elite basketball star, man. Intelligent young man. They say he lived a double life. He hid this from his mom. His mom ain't know nothing about it. When he got killed, she was distraught. So of course we're gonna say allegedly, man, because we're not gonna say that we know this for a fact. But whatever the case, kids got friends, and they rap on songs, to impress their friends, whatever the case may be. But she watched her son get killed. We think the world care about what she going through right now, how she feel. I do, nevertheless, because I care about what's going on in our communities right now. That these kids, man, they are so much more advanced than we were in our time, man, that he could be this way for the public. And in the dark, to be something else that they say. So, of course, it's mixed emotions, but what about what she dealing with? What about that pain? She just lost a part of herself. She just lost her boy that she carried in her womb. What about that? Take the time and stop posting videos of him laid out, stressed in the street, and think about what she's going through. There's no way that you don't got a heart enough to understand that. Some say, oh, he was responsible for this. He was responsible for that. So, all right, you say he got something to do with Cheese death. What about Cheese mom? What about Toya? What about Toya? What about what she going through? That same pain she felt, this mom feel right now. So now they joined, right? With the same pain. While the rest of the world laughing and joking and putting up whatever they putting up on social media, these moms is going through this shit. They distraught. They carrying that burden, that grief. Nobody understand that, man. They just lost a part of their own identity. How do they reconcile as a mom, right? That their son may possibly be a murderer, right? Or a criminal. And that the world see him a different way, but all they see is their child and the pain that they just lost. What about that shame? You don't think that's overwhelming for them? But you continue to post whatever you want to post on social media, you don't care about that, right? What about the impact that they got on themselves? Thinking about their self-worth. I seen moms, man, in them visiting rooms, man. I've talked to moms, man, who in the wake of the actions of their sons, like either the crime that they committed or their son's death, they question their own humanity, man. I've had these conversations, man. They don't just lose their child. They lose, if the community looked at them in a higher standard, it's dropped now. They lose their own self-esteem, man. Sometimes they lose the hope for their own future. They feel like their life became at a standstill and they judged by their son's actions. Some of these moms go into deep depression and they spiral out of control, become unhealthy. Some get so much depression that their hearts weigh so heavy that it start to weaken. They don't cope right no more, right? And they stuck in this endless cycle of grief, an endless cycle of guilt, this endless cycle of fear. Some of them even forced to become caretakers of kids that their sons might have left behind in their death row in prison. Now they got a whole nother job to do. And if they taking care of their son's kids, especially if they had a son, they gotta hope that they do great enough this time that it's not a repeated cycle. that generational curse don't keep going. Our moms inherit the consequences of our actions. And they ain't even have a say in it. My mom helped be a part of my kids' lives, especially my sons, to try to protect them from the things that I endured and the decisions I made. And she ain't asked for that. None of these moms asked for that. We forced that on them. All that they ask is that you listen to them, that you respect them, that you get through school, that you perhaps go to college, but that you be successful so that their attempts and everything that they put into you, that they didn't fail, man. That the world don't see them as a failure. My dad put this emotional burden on my mom. And I did the same to the mothers of my kids. It's called like a generational pass down. Remember, the trauma doesn't just affect the moms, it affects everybody around her that care about her. Because they see what she's going through. And those that care are there for her. The whole family dynamic shifts. Siblings affected, grandparents affected, community affected, their friends affected, their neighbors affected. I remember when I was a fugitive, right? And they was going to my mom's house every day. I'm not even in Philadelphia. But one time, my dad opened the door and made him sit down, and my mom was getting out of the shower. They was standing there with a long rifle right in her face. Oh, that angered me. I came back in the city when I heard that, man, and I was circling that block on a motorcycle every day. And I wanted to just air this police car out, these detectives out, and kill them for what they put my mom through. But that ain't who I am. I was running for something I didn't even do, but I felt the pain that my mom was going through. And it made me want to be something else. It made me want to be a demon. Because that's my mom. And she shouldn't have to endure that. She didn't have to go through that. She didn't ask for that. And she carried that heartbreak. We just talked about that recently. She carried that heartbreak for years. But she held it together. I don't know how she did it, but she did it. It's like an invisible war that they got to fight, right? And they don't even get the recognition for that pain. They don't get that. I want to apologize to all the moms that had to endure all of the stuff that we put y'all through. I ain't deserve that. We put y'all through so much. So on behalf of all the men, all the sons out here, the ones that's in the ground, the ones that's in the mountains, those that's on state road, fighting not to go on the mountains. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of us. Because you got blamed for the things that wasn't your fault, that was beyond your control. And many didn't even offer you support. They just pointed the finger at you. I understand that there's no easy fix. That you are healing every day. I did 22 years. I've been home since April. You think my mom healed yet? She come see me while I'm on house arrest and it's still like her son locked up, but she get to touch me. She get to hold me. But she don't get to spend time with me. She don't get to go places with me and see me smile and be happy. You know, she don't get that yet. Again, due to my actions. Even if I didn't commit the crime that I was accused of, even though I overturned her conviction, I'm still fighting. She's still dealing with that pain. That's the hardest part of it, man. Watching her go through it. Because there ain't no real roadmap to tell them what to do or how to heal from this trauma. Every mom experienced that differently, man. Because every family dynamic the same. I mean, it's unique. It's not the same. I watched a young boy, I'm not going to say his name, but he quit his case. He went upstate. His family was heartbroken. They couldn't believe it. The only one out the siblings that went to prison. But they was in that visit room every week. 4 or 5 deep every time. Only he just came home, right? I can only imagine how they received it. How many families you know that's like that? That supported him being there, even that grandma traveling 2 hours on that road to see him. All the time. Even when he was all the way out Pine Grove. Going to see him. Everybody unfortunate to have that. Our moms need that support. Because they ain't asked for that. So you know a mom that's going through this stuff and they child out there no matter what the crime is. She didn't ask for that. Be there for them. She from your community, support her, be there for her. Aid her. Society as a whole, man, point the fingers at these moms and they're not at fault. At the end of the day, the pain that they going through is real. Whether their child is in prison or dead, that pain is real. It deserves to be seen. It deserves to be acknowledged. It definitely doesn't need to be ignored. We have to understand, right, as a whole, as a community, that when somebody takes a life or they get caught up in the streets and commit crimes and stuff like that, they ain't the only ones that's punished. Just because they get found guilty and the family that they harm feel as though that justice was done, it's still punishment for them and for his mom and his family. When we start offering help instead of judgment? What about offering empathy, support, and some real pathways to help? What about that? I ain't gonna burn y'all out, right? But I need y'all to understand, man, that I constantly hope and I pray, I make dua, man, that conversations like this take place more often. That things like this that I'm saying right now, that it shed a light on the hidden trauma that the moms go through. The hidden trauma that they face when their sons choose a life of crime. I encourage you all to check in on the moms, man, that's in your life. All of them. It don't have to be just your mom. It can be your aunt or a cousin or a sister. They got a child that's running around in these streets. If you can aid them or help them, save them from going to prison or being killed, step up, man. Man up, man. I'm talking to the men. In the words of Cook G's, I'm talking directly to you. Because this is a struggle that they face. And it ain't visible. You don't see it on them all the time. They hide it well. Trauma is something that don't just affect the individual. It affects everybody. Let's acknowledge that. And know that if you or someone is dealing with this or struggling with this, remember that you ain't got to carry that weight by yourself. Say, cool here. You can reach out to me. You can DM me. You can even comment right here, like, subscribe, and reach out to me. I'll reach back. Send me your number. I'll call you. I can help you get some type of professional help if that's what you want. I can listen. I'm not a doctor, but I can offer advice because I've been through it. I put my mom through it. I put my family through I will make sure that you get put in the hands of someone safe if you don't want to talk directly to me. Because I know that your healing process ain't easy. I know this. I know this for a fact. So until next time, man, I ask you to take care of each other. Be there for each other. Aid one another. Talk to one another. Listen to each other. Only take 2 minutes to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, are you okay? The moms didn't ask for this. Remember that. They ain't asked for that. Youngest, man, I ask that, before I close this out, man, I ask that you think about what you're doing right now. Right now, just think about what you're doing. And know that if something happens to you, or if you go to prison and get football numbers, get life sentences, get put on death row, or definitely if you get killed, your mom will suffer from your actions each and every day. So if you love her enough that you don't want her to go through that, choose a different path, do something different. Reach out to me, man, on Instagram at sincerely.saku, or comment here below and ask me to reach out to you. Send me your Instagram and I'll send you my phone number. We could talk. I got resources. I got ways to show you how to get money, man. I got people that teach you financial literacy, man. People that get your credit right. People will help you achieve what you really trying to achieve without taking a life or without giving yours to the system that'll bury you in it. From my heart to yours as always, man. It's my open letter to you. Sincerely, Saku.